So in today's video, we're going to be discussing the 3 M's.
So up on today's docket, we have metaphysical, metaphorical, and metaverse. So when it comes to the word meta, which means after or beyond or more comprehensive, transcending, we're going to be seeing how each of these terms differ and relate to one another. So when it comes to metaphysical, which is a branch of philosophy that deals with abstract questions, like the nature of our existence, immortality, the human soul, the study of space and time, consciousness, and the relationship between mind, matter, substance, attributes, potentiality, and actuality. Metaphysics also come from the word metaphysica, which means after the physics. And we know that physics is the study of matter, fundamental constitutes, motion, space and time, energy, force, the universe. And physics is one of the oldest academic disciplines, right next to astronomy and the study of chemistry, biology, mathematics. Is all a part of natural philosophy. So it's basically questions related to what it is for something to exist and what type of existences are there. So if you're familiar with ancient cultures around the Bronze Age, like Mesopotamia, Egypt, Aztec, Mayans, they all have this belief system that's developed based on, mythology, anthropomorphism, the mind-body dualism, the spirit world, and astronomy. Even in Chinese philosophy like yin and yang, or in Hinduism or Buddhist, or even Christianity, alchemy, hermeneutics, it's all under this umbrella of metaphysical teachings, which kind of stems from Plato's philosophy, and it's a big part of Western philosophical tradition. So we're all trying to understand the development of self or consciousness. Where I see that the lines are getting blurred is the barrier of language. The language that is being utilized to explain these systems, which is being spoken from a speculative point of view, becomes very confusing to a very material-based world, a very physical-based world, because you are explaining something that is beyond the physical. This is where the metaphorical part comes in, right? And metaphors are a figure of speech. Phrases or words are applied to objects or actions, but in a non-literal way. A metaphor derives from an old French word, métaphore, which means to carry over. So transferring from something to something. Or even in some cases to alter, change, or to bear children. In the human language, we use metaphors a lot, especially when trying to describe emotional states, right? Emotions can be very ambiguous or even vague, sometimes hard to describe. Like, for example, if you're going through some type of depression or you're feeling sad, as some will say, you will say that, you're feeling down today, you're feeling low. Physically, you're not like crouching down, or you're not physically low, you're not just lying on the ground. But internally, this is the best way for you to describe such emotion. When you have a more undeveloped mind, like let's say if you was a child, a lot of these terms that we utilize in our adulthood, trying to explain that to a childlike mind is hard to understand. And it's more easy to understand with expressions, or if you go through that experience yourself, right? We're basically trying to find descriptions to articulate these processes that are essentially like undescribable, but the closest way that we can describe them is by using physical correspondence. So metaphors are essentially being used to describe metaphysical processes, right? In a way that the human psyche could digest. So you're taking these higher ideals or these higher philosophies and you're trying to like compact them in a way that is understandable to the average person, right? But we all process information differently, right? And if you don't understand hypotheticals or abstract thinking, when certain ideals are being explained to you from a speculative point of view, you have no choice but to take it literally, right? And this is kind of this discrepancies when it comes to religion, right? But that's in a whole nother topic. So like I was saying, where we're trying to explain metaphysical processes, we tend to use metaphorical descriptions. We're trying to carry over and explain the nature of reality, our existence, you know. The easiest way to relate such ideas is in a more hypothetical type of way, right? Which brings me to my final point, the metaverse. Now, how does all this tie in together? Now, we know the metaverse because we use the metaverse every day, right? It's a medium for communication. So, it is used as a bridge from virtual to physical world, right? It comes to this whole transhumanism, metropolis type of digital universe, right? About the rumors going around about uploading consciousness, really trying to convert the biological makeup of a human being into like a digital coding, right? Say everything is binary codes, zeros and ones. Now this is where, like I said, the metaphorical, metaphysical, you know, are all being combined into one, and this is supposed to be human progression. But in my opinion, I see this as the evolution because we are already, this is something that have already done. Like we already did that. This is why we are here now, right? Zeros and ones. Zero essentially is nothing. One is something. So going from nothing to something, nothing from something, you know, moving in distance, changing, altering, going from one state to another state, right? So we're trying to transcend the human body into a virtual body. And that's kind of similar to the process of spirit and body and transcending beyond the human body, right? Virtual world is supposed to be like a algorithm for spirit, right? Trying to account for different entities, right? Essentially, what makes up a human being beyond the physical biology, right? Because it's not just physical manifestations that play a part in becoming, you know, a human, right? In another video, like, is essentially something that, like, what is a zero? What is nothing? Like, nothing is nothing, right? And this is what they kind of call they're trying to find, what is it, the prima materia, right? Dark matter. And I believe this goes with the I think this is in relation to Saturn, right? And the being that came into existence from nothing, right? If I'm not mistaken. How can you account for nothing? Like, that's the big like confusion of trying to understand like the mathematics behind spirit, soul. Like come up with an equation for that, right? Mathematical equation for that. Say like this universe is made up of numbers, but numbers are symbols, right? And the symbols are representations of something that essentially is undescribable. The best way to account for something is by turning it into a symbol, right? So trying to account for nothing to something, creating equations for souls, creating equations for spirit. When there's multiples of systems that one must go through in order to be a human being, in order to be born into this reality, because essentially you have to be born into reality. So what they're gonna have the first AI child, right, that's born into a virtual world, but it wouldn't be a human being. It wouldn't be organic, right? I'll use that word. It wouldn't be organic to the nature of reality that we know as today. And the biology of a person is one thing. Now, when it comes to the conscious of a person and how they're able to, like I said, process information, their cognitive makeup, you're going to have to come up with a code for that as well. And everybody's is different, and everybody's is complicated. You know what I'm saying? And it's complicated in the sense of the understandings that we have today, in this age, 2023, right? We're kind of still primitive in that sense of understanding such systems. And when it comes to them making these supposedly conscious robots, at the end of the day, it's just, algorithms being programmed into a system, inputs and outputs. And that's pretty simple. Like, that's not, you cannot consider that conscious. You cannot consider that a human being, because when you're not interacting with this AI or whatever, this robot, what is it doing on its own? Does it have thoughts on its own? You know what I'm saying? Does it have dreams on its own? Like, that would be like the next step in what they would have to do. Like, if you're trying to have an advanced type of robotics, like, have they cracked that code? I don't think so. Like I said, even when it comes to trying to even describe humans' emotions, like, it's very abstract, like, it's very vague, like, it's not even, the way we even describe it is not even what it is. Like, now, I do have certain ideas when it comes to maybe kind of constructing a sentient being a little bit better. Like, it would have to understand facial expressions, and it would have to understand the vibratory emotions of another being without verbal and without a verbal interaction. That's what I'm trying to say. Like how we naturally do as humans, we could pick up the sense of another person without them having to explain that to us. Now, is that something that AI can do? I don't think so, unless they try to. And for my last few sentiments, like, when it comes to, like, simulation theory, and they try to say that it's a simulation. Like I said, this is a simulated reality in the sense that we are programmed to view things in a way that they are saying it is. Like, the sky is blue, grass is green, da 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 da. Like, the sky can be red, blue can be viewed as red, like green can be, just the words that they're using to describe such things can be switched around, can be changed up. You can say 3 is 1, 1 is 2, whatever. You can change the symbols for these materials, right? You can switch it up, right? And the way that we're viewing these materials, and the way that we're using physical matter, and the words that we're using to describe physical matter can always be changed around. That's not what it is. It's just a term that we're utilizing to describe, something that we see in front of us, right? Or something that we're feeling, or whatever, or thoughts that we have. Like, that's the simulated part of this reality. It's not like, we're fucking uploaded onto, no, that's not, in my awareness, that's not what it is. Like, it's way more complicated than that. Like, that's simple. And I understand, brainwave technology, and trying to see how what type of, trying to see which brainwaves produces which actions. That is like a helpful science, but everybody, like I said, processes things differently. Like, and we have a whole system beyond our brains and hearts. Each organ has its own thing going on, each cell, each neuron, but like, it's just a whole got a whole thing going on, like, with the human body, right? Even animals at the same time. And everything on this plane is vibrating, at a different frequency, like, and we're still using metaphors to describe, like, processes in general, even when it comes to science and religion, which is essentially is like the same thing. But yeah, I feel like I kind of went on a rant, a little tangent right here. But I wanted to say something, but I kind of forgot. If you have whatever, like I always say in my other videos, leave comments. And I wanted to say something else, I forgot. But is it possible to have the first sentient robot? I don't know. I kind of think I don't know. Like, yeah, it will probably have to go through a process of actually being born. But then that would be like, that's stupid, because it's like, that's what humans are here for. Like, that, like, it's kind of backwards to me.
If you're still here, my final proposed question is moving backwards forwards, or is going forwards moving backwards, right? That kind of leads me into the infinity type of mindset. I may, expand upon this in another video, but yeah, is going backwards moving forward, is moving forward moving backwards.